But what we're talking about today is this new recommendations feature. And so this is like a new part of Search Console. It's just an additive that people are starting to see inside their dashboards that's now going to give you personalized recommendations. And the kind of the cool value of this is that it's going to go from just showing you test results to actually giving you some specific advice on how you can improve your website to meet their standards. And so when I said it's kind of like having a personal SEO consultant that updates you daily, in a sense, it's true, right? Now, there's a lot more that goes into it in terms of ranking in really competitive markets, but nonetheless, any insight into this is definitely a positive. It's a benefit, especially if you are doing any of the website management yourself, right? It's going to take a lot of the theoretical part out of it and give you more actionable types of information that you can use to improve the performance of your website. So now, instead of needing to go into all of these reports and really understand the nuance between types of reports and things like that, it's just going to give you a pretty straightforward recommendation on what to do. Another example of this is it may call your attention to a specific group of URLs that's not getting indexed. So when you put in your sitemap, ideally all of the web pages on your website are going to get crawled and indexed, but they might not for a variety of reasons. When they're going over with that crawl, it doesn't necessarily mean every single page is going to get crawled and accepted by Google and then ultimately indexed. And so there may be a technical issue with that. You might have some sort of directive on the page that says don't show in Google search results. And this is actually something that I've seen a number of times from incoming clients who have been working with a different SEO team, and someone on that SEO team either intentionally or unintentionally has set one or many pages to no index, which effectively tells Google, hey, we do not want you to index these pages, right? And so you might have done this while you were like developing a web page or changing things, and you didn't want it to get indexed yet, and it just forgot to do that. I've also seen it done in a malicious way, where the previous provider is actually trying to inflict damage by effectively telling Google, hey, we do not want you to index this entire site. And so recommendations like this can be absolutely vital with seeing that, and it really starts to help you understand low performance on a website, or if you're getting a certain level of performance, something that can actually improve it. There's also recommendations here as well that are going to talk about certain keywords or certain topics that your pages cover that are getting more impressions than usual, or you're starting to gain traction with particular pages. So these can be really valuable because it's going to give you a little bit of insight as to which pages are performing well, and maybe you're taking advantage of a trend. From there, you might see that you're getting a little bit more traffic on some of these pages that you wrote a year ago, but changes have happened in the judicial system or new laws in your state where those pages actually need to be updated. So this can kind of remind you to go in and look at these pages and then just revisit them, optimize them, because if you're getting some good impressions now, typically by optimizing it, adding some additional updated information, you're going to get even better performance because Google's looking for the best, most up-to-date, accurate, and authoritative sources for information on the internet. And so by going in, optimizing it, improving it, it's a great way to show Google that you are in fact on top of these updates. You have the best content out there compared to other people in your profession. So a lot of good, actionable stuff that you can do with these recommendations. And again, it's all free. It's all easy to access inside the Google Search Console. So if you've ever wished that you had a direct line to Google, these recommendations are getting you closer than ever. And this is why we feel confidently that law firms should care about these new recommendations. And I would say in a bigger sense about Google Search Console and all of the information that is available in there. Ultimately, Google holds the keys to the search engine, right? They have 100% control over what goes in, at what positions the content is featured. And if you can get some of their personalized recommendations, even though it's created by AI or bots, what have you, still is very, very valuable because it's going to give you a better idea of what they're looking for, right? I think a big problem with SEO in general when it comes to law firm owners is that it's out of their control, right? And there's a lot that goes into it. And so not being able to understand the mechanics of how it works is super frustrating, especially if you're spending lots of money and you're not getting any results, right? And you're trusting someone to navigate this for you and they're just not getting those results. It's super frustrating. You're going to feel very vulnerable being out there paying thousands of dollars and then just not really knowing, like, is this the right thing to be doing? Are there other things that I should be doing? All that type of stuff. And so when Google provides you with some of these opportunities and they kind of show their hand a little bit, you absolutely want to seize on them. And so a big part of our SEO optimization program is we want to maximize every opportunity that Google has given us and has put out there publicly about their recommendations. And so you can kind of track this over, the past 10, 20 years. Google will give you these new recommendations. And the expectation I have for our team is that we are going to follow them to the letter of the law, because even though there's some debate about, are the things Google talks about always the things that they're actually rewarding for in the search algorithm, but everything in Google Search Console, I would argue, has a pretty direct impact or is directly aligned with their search engine philosophy. And so if you go into the main components of Google Search Console, it's talking about technical aspects of the website, of web pages. Can Google's software crawl them easily and without a lot of power or memory energy? Because ultimately they're crawling millions and billions of web pages, and so they need to be able to do it efficiently because it's costing them an enormous amount of money to be out there constantly looking for new content. And so are you, as the owner, following their guidelines so that they can do that efficiently and at the lowest cost possible for them? Same thing when it comes to just all the other visible aspects of your website pages on their platform, right? When visitors go and click on a search result, Google is looking for that visitor to have a good experience. And that's kind of the handoff or the trust between the content producer, the website owner, and Google, right? Google will give you the placement, but on your end, you have to ensure that you're giving them a good experience. And so the fluctuations, the ups and the downs of the rankings for Google are going to be largely based on who they feel is giving the best experience. One of the big elements that they have discussed and put in their guidelines over the past 5 to 10 years, has been website speed and also responsiveness, because not everybody is looking at your website from a desktop computer with a great internet connection. And so if they're on their phone, if they're out in the country and don't have access to high-speed internet or something, Google wants them to have a good experience too, because ultimately that makes them a happy customer who's going to come back and keep using Google to find the answers to their questions moving forward. And so you, as the website owner, need to meet or exceed all of these guidelines, right? And so these recommendations and the other components of Search Console are going to help you solve one of the really 3 big components or 4 when it comes to SEO. You have off-page, you have on-page, you have technical, you have local. This is the technical component of your website and whether it meets all of those requirements put forth by Google. So your SEO campaign is entirely contingent on this, because if you don't come through correctly with all three of those components, you are not going to be in a position to rank, capture traffic, and ultimately more business for your law firm. Not all SEO strategies are created equal, and knowing which ones to act on can make or break your SEO strategy.